Howdy, folks. Woodrow Walls from needcoffee.com here. And we're back again for another Wayhomer. So we're playing catch up here. But that's okay. Turn some lights on. Ah! Oh, Jesus. You see me. Alright, so I just left the theater. And as always, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the film we just saw. And the film we just saw is Alice in Wonderland. And you can tell that we saw it in 3D because if you look, I have this mark on the bridge of my nose from where I was wearing the glasses. That's the giveaway. So, Tim Burton's Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Let's see. I think the first thing that runs through your mind, well, when they announced that Tim Burton was doing Alice in Wonderland for Disney, it basically, it's the same thing that, you can go, alright, I'll go then. It's the same thing that goes through your mind anytime that you get a Tim Burton film, which is, well, at least it's going to look good. Because Tim Burton, don't get me wrong, he makes very interesting films. Some of them are flawed. Some of them are really good. My favorite of which is Big Fish, which is actually the least Burton-esque of the Tim Burton films. But really, when you think about it, you go, Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland, fantastic. It's a crazy, screwed-up story. Tim Burton's a crazy, screwed-up guy. It sounded like it was going to be a match made in heaven. Now, the problem is that I learned not too long ago, and this movie's been out for a couple weeks now, but a couple months before that, I learned about the time the second trailer came out that it really wasn't Tim Burton's Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Well, it was, but with emphasis on the Tim Burton part. Because it was kind of a sequel, non-sequel to Alice in Wonderland, kinda. So, I was kind of disappointed, frankly, because I liked the idea of Tim Burton doing a straight-up Alice in Wonderland, as straight-up as such a story can be. And I felt kind of like misled, because the main problem I had with it, I was fine if Tim Burton wants to do Alice Returns, or Alice in Wonderland Again, or Alice in Wonderland 2, Alice Harder, whatever the hell he wants to call it. But by calling it Alice in Wonderland, you think it's going to be, you know, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland. But just like the main question throughout the film, one of the main questions that keeps coming back around is, why is a raven like a writing desk? How can you make an Alice in Wonderland movie that's not really an Alice in Wonderland movie? And I don't blame Tim Burton for asking this question, because I'll link up the post here, on the post here on Need Coffee. If you're watching this on YouTube, come to Need Coffee, we don't bite, except for Scott. And, but I did a whole post with, like, Alice in Wonderlands from, like, for the last 100 years. Every, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, there's a new version of Alice in Wonderland. Usually it involves basically getting a bunch of famous celebrities to play the various roles. And that's fine, and that's cool, and that's a quick way of getting, you know, usually a made-for-television movie done with a bunch of celebrities in it. And that's all well and good. But I can understand why Tim Burton probably didn't want to redo that story, because it's been done so many times. And while the prospect of having a Tim Burton version of that story is pretty cool, I can understand why he didn't want to retread the same ground. But still, I was skeptical. Now, having seen the film, I really like it. I mean, I feel a lot better about the way he pulled it off, the way he made an Alice in Wonderland film that wasn't Alice in Wonderland, kinda. I was actually quite happy with. It had some great messages in there about imagination and growing up and all the things that you would expect, and they're not done. You know how when somebody says to you, it's a fantastic story about growing up and learning to be yourself, part of you just kind of cringes and you just go, oh shit, not again, because that's been done so many times that unless you're very good at doing it, it's gonna suck, because we've seen that done so many times. And we all, I mean, you can only see so many times, oh, growing up is hard, and becoming yourself is hard, and finding your own way is hard, because we all know that, because we're old, and we know that. But you can do it in such a way that it doesn't suck, and Burton managed, I think, to pull that off. And that being the overall thrust of the story, along with all the crazy acid trip stuff, it comes out okay. Part of that is due to the fact that the effects are pretty cool. The motion capture stuff that you would think would be kind of goofy, like the fact that Helena Bonham Carter has a head that's even larger than mine and Oliver Platt's put together, that actually comes off okay. After a moment, you get used to the fact that Crispin Glover looks like, I don't know, the way we always imagine Crispin Glover looks like. Kind of weird and a little off kilter. You know, the CG stuff, the characters, the Cheshire Cat and the Caterpillar, they all come off rather well, I think. And he did some fantastic voice casting. You know, Stephen Fry's the Cheshire Cat, Alan Rickman is the Caterpillar, and of course, my personal favorite, Christopher Lee is the Jabberwocky. Because really, who else can you cast as the Jabberwocky? Nobody. So, you know, honestly, coming out of the film, I must say, I liked it a lot better than I thought I was going to. Because of my fear of learning that it was this sequel, non-sequel, kinda. But I think it came off rather well, and I think it's one of the more successful Tim Burton films in that way. And the fact that it manages to take all of those themes and kind of stitch them all together and make it not be some kind of Franken-theme or Franken-film that really turns you off. So I would say if you're one of the 3 people left on the planet who hasn't seen it, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Avatar. If you're one of the 12 people left on the planet who hasn't seen it, then you should probably catch it. Go see it on a matinee. Let's not get crazy, but do see it in 3D because I thought the 3D effects were rather nice, rather seamless. The digital 3D looks really good, and you know, at no point, there are only a couple of occasions in which I felt that the 3D was being taken care of. You know what I'm talking about, that whole 50s 3D type of thing. There are only a couple of those. And you know what? You're doing 3D? Screw it. Do a couple of them. I'll give you a couple of those. No problem. You're fine. So yeah, that's my thing. It's one of Tim Burton's more successful films. It's gorgeous, by the way. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's everything you would want from Tim Burton going crazy with the help of, you know, Colleen Atwood on costumes and all those other folks that you would want. So it looks fantastic, and it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen. Which is why it's done so well at the box office. People knew it was going to be, and it proved itself true, which is why it was #1 at the box office second weekend, and I don't know, it'll do pretty well this weekend too. So I think that's it. Alice in Wonderland in 3D. So, yeah, there you go. So keep those cards and letters coming. Let me know what you think. Wayhomer reviews. And I'm on the interstate like I normally am by this point, so I really can't say bye. So I'll just wave this way, and I'll say come see us at eatcoffee.com, and we'll talk to you next time.